Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be continuing my 13 Days of Halloween series with Werewolf by Night, directed by Michael Giacchino, and this is the first of the Marvel special presentations that we've gotten, and it's a nice little indicator of what we can expect from these things in the future, because of course we're getting the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special directed by James Gunn later in December, and so this is a nice little way to just experiment in the MCU, introduce some new characters that we don't really know where they would introduce otherwise, and so this does really feel like a 56-minute pilot to a TV show that I really want to see. Please, Marvel, let Michael Giacchino either direct a full-length feature film of Werewolf by Night or continue this and make a series out of it, because there's a lot of great characters introduced in this thing. So we are going to be getting to spoilers for Werewolf by Night, so if you've not seen it and you like the MCU and you like horror, definitely go check this one out. I love that they have a Halloween special, and I hope they continue to do it every year, because to see any horror in the MCU is always fun. Of course, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness had a different type of horror. It had a more campy Sam Raimi form of horror, which is its own little subgenre of thing, and this does feel like it's the 1930s introduction to actual horror into the MCU, which, you know, starting off with the style and the tone of things in the 1930s, which is how horror even began, is really just fitting. So the short follows a bunch of hunters all battling out against each other in order to get this Bloodstone, because they want to become the head of the Bloodstone family, which this family essentially hunts down monsters, and they have this whole ritual thing that they have all planned out, and because the head has passed away, now we have all these different hunters, including Jack Russell's character, all trying to battle out to try to kill this monster in order to become the head of the family. And so we have a nice fun cast of just different hunters in this special, but since it is only 56 minutes long, we only get to know two of them really. So we have Jack Russell, who is the werewolf, and we don't really know what his deal is at first in this thing. We don't know if he actually has his powers yet. All we know is that he has 100 kills and that he seems that he's different from everybody else. And of course we have Elsa's character, Elsa Bloodstone, who's the daughter, and she also has different reasons of why she's there. Of course, she was kind of banished by the family and no one was expecting her to actually show up to this thing, and so she seems like she doesn't kind of vibe with the way this family has run things this entire time. And so with these two characters and those two type of storylines, of course they have a very fitting way to kind of team up with each other, because Jack Russell's character doesn't want to kill this monster. He's actually here to save this monster, and we find out that the monster that they're all going to hunt in this kind of ritual thing is the man thing, which I love this thing. I cannot believe how great they pulled this thing off. I didn't really know who the man thing was from the comics. I don't read the comics or anything like that, so this was a very fresh introduction to him. I did a little Googling. Apparently he was like a super soldier serum gone wrong, which happens a lot in the MCU, and this did have a lot of, Hulk vibes with, of course, the werewolf not being able to control himself while he is the werewolf, and you have the man thing that is, a super soldier gone wrong, but the man thing's name is Ted, and he's just a really nice guy, and the werewolf, or Jack Russell's character, just wants to save him, and Elsa's now on board, and you have her entire arc of her becoming like, her family of, attacking and fighting and just killing all these monsters, but finding that there is a humanity behind them, which is a really nice touch and kind of a nice little character arc that she has throughout this short. And when Jack and Elsa are able to get the man thing or Ted out of this, little, I guess, maze that they have, essentially this battlefield that they have built for themselves for this ritual, once they're able to get the man thing out of there, things go bad. They find out that's, Jack Russell is actually a monster himself. They find out that he's a werewolf, and now he is going to be the one that they're going to hunt, because, he's a monster hiding within the hunters, and that's obviously not a good thing. So everybody's going to be pitted against him. They lock them in a cage together, so essentially if the werewolf is unleashed, she is just dead. Elsa is just not going to survive. And so I really like the scene, because they had a bonding scene, when they're first, trying to team up with each other, but once they're in that cage, they have that conversation where, like, if I get used to your scent, or if I get to know you, maybe I can remember you as a werewolf. And it kind of ties into the way that Elsa was trying to, confront Man-Thing without, having Man-Thing kill her, calling Man-Thing by his actual name, calling him Ted, and just, forming that connection, treating him as if, he's an old friend or something like that. And that's essentially what she does towards the end of this thing when, the werewolf is attacking her. And so again, all these little pieces with these little characters that they're introducing in this special really does fit together nicely. And like I said, it feels like a pilot to a show that I really want to see, because these characters are great. I love the dynamic with Elsa and Jack, even though it's a very small amount of time that we had it. When we finally got to see the werewolf in this thing, which was about halfway in, I like the design. It's not my favorite werewolf design I've ever seen. I did just watch American Werewolf in London, and that werewolf design is amazing. That transformation scene is incredible. We don't get anything that great in this werewolf, Werewolf by Night short, because because of course they are limited with the amount of budget they have, with the time that they have. I like the fact that they focused on Elsa during the transformation. You see the shadow in the background. That was pretty cool, but we don't get a great transformation scene like in American Werewolf in London, and maybe we'll get that in the future of this character in the MCU. And so the design of the actual werewolf reminds me more of the 1930s Wolfman movie. It's kind of more man than it is wolf, and so it's not like that vicious, monster that you see in American Werewolf in London. But I think the benefit of that is that you get to actually see Gael García Bernal's performance in that, and you get to see his eyes, you get to see his face in very personal moments when, of course, he's attacking Elsa, and Elsa's kind of begging him to stop, and she, takes her hand, puts it on his cheek. That moment wouldn't have been achieved if he looked like the monstrous thing in American Werewolf in London. So in some ways it does benefit it. I do want to see it more because, again, this is a very, very short episode. It felt like the first episode of Moon Knight where we didn't get to see Moon Knight too much, but obviously we got to see more werewolf in this than we did in Moon Knight. The action was great. There was a little corridor that's the door shutting in the background and all the lights are flickering, and so you get to see this werewolf taking out a bunch of goons or henchmen. I don't know, I think they believe in the cause, so I think they'd be henchmen in this, but I did enjoy how the werewolf was, running around, jumping across walls, flinging itself around to each other, and just how brutal it was. I love the blood splatter on the camera, and every time somebody was either slit in the throat or their arm was cut off and they were thrown and they were spun around, the blood kind of did its trail and it kind of flung around. It was really cool. It's some gory stuff in the MCU, and not gory in terms of I just watched Terrifier 2. Not like that or anything like that. It's pretty tame, but still, we get to see some blood splatters in the MCU, which is kind of fun. But overall, I thought this was just a fun showcase of these characters, these performances, and just what we can expect from the future of the MCU with these characters. And with Michael Giacchino as a director, his score, by the way, is incredible in this thing. He's, like I said at the beginning of the video, he is one of my favorite composers of all time. Him and John Williams are my 1 and 2. I absolutely love the score of this thing. It's one of my favorites. I'm going to download it right now because it's just so good. And I'm probably going to watch this again in a few weeks or in a few days, honestly, with my family, because it was just a fun, simple, very short, Halloween special that you can throw on TV and just have a blast with. That'll be it from me on Werewolf by Night. What do you guys think of this, Halloween special? Do you hope they continue this every year, or do you hope that Michael Giacchino just does a full-length feature film with these characters, or continue it with a show? What did you think of the werewolf design? What did you think of just Man-Thing and just everything about this thing? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this review and want to see more just like it, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, and also check out the Terrifier 2 review that I just did. I'm doing the 13 Days of Halloween, so we're going to have a bunch of stuff. I'm going to do Guillermo del Toro's show at the end of the year. I'm going to watch Mike Flanagan's show all of today, and so I'm going to get that review out for you guys tomorrow for Midnight Club. I'm very excited to do all these things on the channel to celebrate Halloween because this is my favorite season of the year. So thanks everybody for watching this video, and hope to see you all in my next one.